We do welcome Coptic Minister Laurie tonight. Looking forward to her presentation. Laurie is retired from Mott Community College in Flint, Michigan, having spent 20 years in the Michigan school system as a high school teacher and community college instructor. She has studied metaphysics since the mid-1980s and became a Coptic minister in 2007. She facilitates daily study groups via email of A Course in Miracles and continues to study non-dualism and the meaning of oneness from many traditions. Great topic tonight. Looking very forward to it. Is rewriting your book of life.
Well, first, I'd like to make it clear that I took the title of today's talk from a book by Joseph Murphy. And if you can see this, it's The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. And so we're going back to the title. What is rewriting your book of life? And why would you want to rewrite it? And I'll begin by reading a quote from page 52 of Murphy's book. And the title of this section is, Your Subconscious is Your Book of Life. Okay. Your subconscious is your book of life. Whatever thoughts, beliefs, opinions, theories, or dogmas you write, engrave, or impress on your subconscious mind, you shall experience them as objective manifestation of circumstances, conditions, and events. What you write on the inside, you will experience on the outside. And you have two sides to your life, objective and subjective, visible and invisible, thought and its manifestation. So now let's look a little deeper into subconscious mind. And it's been clearly explained in Murphy's book, and also very well, Hamid Bey defines it very well also. And I'm going to give you a little bit of an analogy of what it is. So if you view your conscious mind, or your thinking mind, as the captain of this ship or vessel we call the body, then the subconscious mind is like the crew. The crew keeps the vessel running. The crew does all the work. It reproduces your blood cells. It controls your heartbeat. It keeps you healthy or makes you sick or ill. And the crew absolutely obeys whatever orders are received from the captain. Aye, captain, right? The captain is only 5% of your ship. And the subconscious, or the crew, is 95% of what is going on in this vessel every day and every night, as the crew never sleeps. So I'd like to take a look at another one of Hamid Bey's lessons, and this is lesson 148, and it's called The Power of Habit. And Hamid Bey says the first time you do a certain act, you consciously direct it. The second time you do it, the impression becomes stronger on the subconscious mind, and if repeated again and again, the action becomes automatic. So when an action has reached the automatic state, it is easy to repeat again and again. Thus, it becomes a habit, because a habit is a path in the brain along which the nerve energy always tends to flow if the same circumstances occur. A habit which has been deeply impressed on the subconscious mind could become the controller instead of the controlled. Some people get into such a groove and will not change. And Hamid Bey gives us a little bit of an example here. Example of the man who would not drive to work on a different road, suggested by a friend because it was shorter. He said he'd been driving on the same road for 20 years and saw no reason to change. His deep-rooted habit kept him from making a change, even though there was good reason to do it. So Hamid Bey explains the subconscious mind as the habit mind. And that is a perfect way to view what goes on in your daily life. And so I'd like to share with you a fun example that I experienced a few years ago. At one point, I was making frequent trips from Western North Carolina up to Michigan. And on one of my trips, I was heading north, which is the way I always went, on Interstate 75, straight up. And I was in Kentucky where the roads are hilly and they go back and forth, lots of curves. There's lots of trees and it's beautiful scenery. And I was somewhere in northern Kentucky where the mile marker roads are around the 200s. I was still quite a ways from the Ohio River and then the huge city of Cincinnati. And I don't know if any of you have ever driven this route before. I'm sure some of you have. You know that eventually you will get to this huge bridge that goes up over the Ohio River. And then right there in front of you is the downtown area of Cincinnati with these huge skyscrapers and all kinds of traffic. It's really like, wow. And so I'm listening to an audiobook. I'm still in the hilly area of Kentucky. And then suddenly I look up and I see mile marker 13. 13? Wait a minute. How could that be? Where am I? Where am I? As I kept on driving, I finally figured out that I'm still on Interstate 75, but I'm in Ohio. How could that be? Who drove that car over the bridge and through this busy traffic area of downtown Cincinnati and then ended up 13 miles into Ohio? Who was driving the car? Well, the crew on the ship was driving. My subconscious, which has driving a car programmed into it. I mean, my gosh, I've been driving a car for 60-some years, right? So that programming is pretty deep. And it drove the car through this busy traffic area over a bridge totally without my conscious awareness, totally. And I've told this story to several people, and a friend of mine here in North Carolina is now a retired truck driver. And he told me a similar story, something that happened to him. He was driving a huge semi-tractor truck in the mountains of Colorado. And he was on a 2-lane highway. It's curvy. It's a mountain road. And he's a long, long way from his destination. And then suddenly, he's pulling into the parking lot of his destination without any awareness of having driven there or how he got there. Totally no awareness at all. And this kind of situation has probably happened to a lot of us, and not necessarily just driving a car, but there could be other activities also in which you've experienced something like this happening. Joseph Murphy has another analogy to explain the conscious and the subconscious mind in his book. And I'm going to share this one with you as well. You've got the captain, you've got the crew. He also says to look at our minds as a garden. And he says, you are a gardener and you are planting seeds or thoughts, seeds or thoughts, in your subconscious mind all day long, based on your habitual thinking. So as you sow in your subconscious mind all day long, you shall reap in your body, in your environment. And he adds, begin now to sow thoughts of peace, happiness, right action, goodwill, and prosperity. Think quietly with interest on these qualities and accept them fully in your conscious reasoning mind. Continue to plant these wonderful seeds or thoughts in your garden, in the garden of your mind, and you will reap a glorious harvest. Isn't that a beautiful analogy? You plant these good seeds in your garden, and you will have a glorious harvest. He says, think good, and good follows. However, think bad, and bad follows. You are what you think all day long. You have the power to choose. Choose health and happiness. You can choose to be friendly or unfriendly. You can choose to be cooperative, joyous, lovable, and the whole world will respond in kind back to you. And this is you rewriting your book of life. And now this next part is pretty crucial, very, very important. I'm going to go back to the idea of habit mind as Hamid Bey is explaining it in The Power of Habit. And he tells us that everything we do automatically is a habit. He says that first, the habit is something mental. It is, again, analogy of the seed that the gardener plants in the soil. And after that, it has become a habit. He also tells us that we can control this habit by our conscious thoughts. He offers the example of the fact that he could control his heartbeat. He could make it beat faster or more slowly as he directed it consciously. And of course, we all know, we've all heard the stories, the amazing stories of how Hamid Bey could control his heart. He could be buried for hours and survive. And he could control this. He knew how to do this. And he says also that if we have a bodily misfunction, like any kind of disease, cancer, whatever, the cause is because of a habit. And what do you do to right this malfunction? And he answers with this. If your concentration and intention are strong enough, the mind will send energy there to promote healing. You will not see the mental sparks going on there. For doing something for an organ in your body is somewhat different from building up muscle, when you're exercising, as it is not visible. All the functions of the physical body are regulated by the subconscious mind, by subconscious habit, and they can be changed by willpower, by mantra, by concentration, by repetition. With this combination, a habit can be overcome. Otherwise, it could put you into a very negative condition of life. Everything depends on what you think and the impression made upon your subconscious mind. If we allow ourselves to be subdued by all the negative occurrences which happen to us and others, the mind cannot function as it should. And Murphy adds in his book, watch what you say. You have to account for every idle word. Never say, I will fail. I will lose my job. I can't pay the rent. Your subconscious mind cannot take a joke. It brings all these things to pass. And Hamid Bey also has some interesting words about this as well. He refers to the hurry habit. Because we seem to be in constant turmoil in our hurry, hurry, hurry world. And this ends up causing constant agitation and also helps to create the worry habit as well. And he says the worry habit may be even worse than the hurry habit, for the mind is kept in constant turmoil, kept going over the same thoughts in trying to find the solution of some problem. So to say to yourself, I am worried that this or that may happen, is giving a direct order to the subconscious mind to actually make it happen. Never say to yourself, I'm worried about this person, or worried about that person, or this possibility, or whatever, because now you are creating that to happen. Your mind is very powerful, and you need to recognize just how powerful it is. Just how powerful. Murphy adds too, you are the captain of your soul, your subconscious mind, and the master of your fate. Remember, you have the capacity to choose. Choose life, choose love, choose health, choose happiness. So these words that we say to ourselves are so very, very important. We must be careful only to use affirmative words and never to use the word not, as in, I am not poor. No, don't say that. This is actually an affirmation for poverty, because the subconscious mind only hears the main words and doesn't recognize the not word. So to say I am not ill or sick is to affirm that you are sick. For instance, I just real quick here, I'm going to show you another book I started looking at quite a while ago. This is called, woohoo, The Self-Hypnosis Diet. And that point is made really powerfully about not using the not word, as you are, I am my perfect weight. I am perfectly healthy. And Murphy suggests some 3 different techniques. And the self-hypnosis diet fits into the first one that he talks about, which is the sleeping technique. So this is how it works. As you're going off to sleep at night, just before you actually do fall into a deeper sleep, and your conscious mind tunes out, your subconscious mind, don't forget, the crew never sleeps, so it's always awake. Be saying to yourself some very good affirmations. And in that book of the Self-Hypnosis Diet, the reason it's called that is there's a CD included with the book, and you put the CD on at night as you're going to sleep, and it's saying positive things to you about your weight for like an hour, okay, as you're drifting off to sleep, which is the time that your crew is really paying attention. Now, the second technique that Murphy gives is similar, and it's called the Affirmation Technique. And we kind of talked about this already, but saying very affirmative words to yourself, like I am in perfect health would be a good one. He says, I am whole, perfect, strong, powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. And the last technique that he suggests is the thank you technique, which is also, a little similar to the affirmation technique, because when you're thankful, the thing didn't have to have happened yet, but being thankful for it as if it has happened. I am thankful. I am in perfect health. Even though you maybe have, according to the doctors, you've got something wrong. I am thankful. I am in perfect health is an affirmation and also gratitude. So it's the thank you technique. He says to affirm is to state that it is so. And as you maintain this attitude of mind as true, regardless of all evidence to the contrary, you will receive an answer to your prayer. Your thought can only affirm, for even if you deny something, you are actually affirming the presence of what you deny. So affirming whatever that good is that you would like to see happen in your life, that's the way to do it. And also in his book, later on, he's got a great way to start your day. And I don't know if you mind if I share this with you, but it's about a paragraph long. And he says this: so as you wake up, This is a great affirmation to start your day with. Divine order takes charge of my life today and every day. All things work together for good for me today. This is a new and wonderful day for me. I am divinely guided all day long, and whatever I do will prosper. Divine love surrounds me, enfolds me, and enwraps me, and I go forth in peace. Whenever my attention wanders away from that which is good and constructive, I will immediately bring it back to the contemplation of that which is lovely and of good rapport. I am a spiritual and mental magnet, attracting to myself all things which bless and prosper me. I am going to be a wonderful success in all my undertakings today. I am definitely going to be happy all day long. And I really love that one. I am definitely going to be happy all day long. So this is rewriting your book of life, which means changing your subconscious programming away from anything negative to 100% positive. And I highly recommend that you do go back and reread all of Hamid Bey's lesson 279 on subconscious programming, and also The Power of Habit, which is lesson 148. And so summing this all up, I'd like to give an option to everyone here. And Alan, I'll let you kind of be in charge of this. Alan has a video ready to go if you would like to watch it, but it is 11 minutes long, and it's by Dr. Bruce Lipton, and it's called How to Reprogram Your Subconscious Mind. And I thought I'd just put it out there for everyone. If you would like to see this video, I'm not sure, you probably have to see this gallery view, Alan.
Yeah, I've got my screen set for gallery views. So anybody who'd like to see the video, just raise your hand. And if most of you want to, okay, I think we got over half already.
Thank you, Laurie. Wonderful presentation. As you look back at the first 7 years of your life, that was interesting information from that video. After seeing that again, I watched it earlier today, and I got more out of it just a moment ago. But how do you rearrange stuff from our first 7 years that you don't even know? like the first couple of years of your life, and the babies, you learn how to walk and things like that. But I mean, there's probably hidden subconscious stuff from those first 2 years. It might pop up now, I guess, into the conscious mind. I guess it has now that I look back at it in my life. But how do you take a look at that and reprogram it? That's pretty amazing tips that he's offering. And you did too tonight. So I thank you for that. I'm kind of making a statement and a question at the same time, I guess. So tips of affirmation, saying you're happy is what you mentioned earlier tonight. And so did Dr. Lipton too. Other ways of reprogram the subconscious, and looking into the Dr. Murphy's book too. So it's a daily process, I guess.
One of those techniques that Bruce Lipton was talking about there towards the end, one of the things that came up mentioned was Psych K. And a friend of mine here recommended a book by Robert Williams, and it's called Psych K. It's PSYCH-K, The Missing Piece in Your Life. And the piece is spelled PEACE, that kind of piece, the missing piece in your life. In case anybody wanted to look that one up, that's part of that program that he was talking about at the end of his video. I haven't bought it yet, but I'm definitely going to look into it.
Anyone else have comments, questions for Laurie tonight?
Yeah, hi, I'm Noelle. And there was a series that was done in England, I think it's their public broadcasting, there's something called 7 Up. And they followed this group of children from different socioeconomic sectors and brought them in every 7 years for testing and evaluation and seeing how their life was going. And it went from about 12 of them went from age 7 and participated till I think about age 56. And then it interviews them at all these different intervals. It's really fascinating. And I think I got it at the public library or something. But, the thing that everything is formed by 7, it really kind of questioned that. I know that, because the trajectory of some of the lives, what you would think by 7, this person would have been, oh, this one's probably going to have a really tough life or something. And, some of them did really beautifully, and some of them that they thought would, had all the privilege and advantage, didn't. So I guess they had, I don't know how they looked at subconscious programming with those children, but it was really interesting to see the evolution of these children over those 56 years. It's really a fascinating series. I just thought I'd put that up there.
Go ahead, Michael Joy.
I was just saying, as I was listening to Bruce Lipton, for one thing, he was talking about hypnosis, which is the actually opposite of what Rose was reading. But it seemed pretty, can you mute? Oh.
Yeah, they are muted. It's the speaker that's coming back to your microphone.
It seemed pretty hopeless.
Can you turn down the volume on your speaker, Laura Joy?
Yeah, mine's down and I'm on mute.
She's on mute.
Well, no,
Michael Joy?
mute. I'm just saying the volume control. Turn your volume down.
Michael Joy, I would like to add also that Bruce Lipton is not talking about having someone else hypnotize you. He was talking about self-hypnosis.
I realized that. I wasn't able to finish my thought because of the interference.
Right. Okay.
My parents were divorced when I was 6 and a half. And they had a very volatile relationship, and in some ways, typical 1950s parenting program. Like, by the time your kid walks, they need to be potty trained. I was sucking my thumb getting ready to go to school, and my mother and I spent the whole summer battling each other because I was going to continue sucking my thumb. and that whole thing, it's like whatever your kids are doing is a reflection on the parents, kind of a thing. And so that was kind of the mindset back in the 50s. And I just don't know that I think I realize there are some things I'm still probably go back to automatic on, and I don't know that that's, people live and learn and change things. And, most of the people that I know make a point to do things differently than their parents did and find out how to do that. So I'm not so sure. I mean, I know a lot of what he's saying is correct. And at the same time, not so sure I'm 100% on board with it. That's just what I have to say.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. Since I came from a similar household in terms of parents fighting quite violently, actually, up until I was like 6 or 7 years old. And Louise Hay, how she talks about disease being related to your emotions? Mm-hmm. And if you look up any particular disease, it will go back to, whatever that emotion is. Well, I was having some issues with high blood pressure. Well, guess where high blood pressure comes from? It is from trauma in your childhood. And you may subconsciously, it's buried there, and you may not actually consciously be aware of it. You may not consciously remember this trauma, but it's still there. It's still buried there. And therefore, when you get in your 60s, you can actually develop a problem that was based on that old trauma when you were a child.
I realize that. I use Louise Hay a lot. If issues come up for me, I've recently had some issues with low back pain, history of it kind of in my family with my mother. And I've had it since I was a teenager on and off. Although the last decade or more, I've learned, not that I don't experience back pain, but it's never been debilitating like it used to be sometimes. And I understand that low back has a lot to do with feeling not supported. And so then I go back and I go through that kind of a thing. But I'm just saying, I don't think that it's always true. Especially for people who do their own work. And I was just Friday, I was in a breath workshop, and it was about reclaiming your inner authority. And it's looking for those places in your life that your authority, you were disempowered and your authority, and I did a lot of breath training back in the 80s. And one of my trainers said, we breathe to get high, and if something's in the way, it'll come up. But if you're breathing to look for things that are wrong, I mean, that's what our modern medicine is based on. I don't even give my family history anymore when I go to a doctor, because I don't want them to project that thought, that energy at me. It's not my stuff. I don't live the same lifestyle. I don't have the same thinking process. I don't anything that my parents and most of my siblings have. And so it's like, I'm not going to allow a doctor or a medical facility to project that energy at me. And I don't even know where I'm going with this, but I just, some of it just didn't feel right to me. I realize the truth of some of it. And at the same time, I'm saying, I think we're beyond a lot of that. And I agree with Ahmed Bey in letting if the person hypnotizing you, you trust them and you know where they're coming from, they're helping you get into your own hypnosis state. I think that that's okay. And I agree that sometimes someone outside yourself can maybe wreak a little more harm than you care to have them. But Dick Sutphin, I've used him a lot. He's from way back, and his programs always had self-hypnosis spots on them for you to put your own stuff in there. He just helped you get in, and then you would do your work. So I think it has a lot to do with the integrity of the hypnotherapist and how they're able to help you get to a place where you can do your own work. But so I'm not, I don't, about being warned away from hypnosis. I don't know about that.
Well, I think one of the key ideas that both Michael Joy and Noelle are bringing up is that while our upbringing before the age of 7 can set us in a general direction, and while the typical person will spend 95% of their time operating off of those past programs, we do have a conscious mind, and we can take control of our lives at any point after that and make changes to our lives. In fact, that's one of the key elements of Joseph Murphy's material and Ahmed Bey's material, is that we do have the capability of taking control of our life, and we also have the responsibility to take control of our life. And as I don't know Ahmed Bey as well as I know Joseph Murphy. So as Joseph Murphy is always saying, according to your belief, is it done unto you? According to your book of life, as Laurie is saying, what you write within yourself becomes manifest in your life. And so if after the age of 7, you hear an idea that, okay, we're supposed to take control of our life, and then you hear other ideas that send you off in a new direction, then you're thinking in that new direction and you're rewriting that book of life, and you're putting new information into those programs that will carry you in a new direction. So I think that's the key element of what Laurie's presentation is that even though our parents may have set us off in one direction in life, there's no rule or law that says that we have to continue in that direction. In fact, the expectation is that at some point in time, we will take control of our own life, we will make our own decisions, and we will go through whatever process we need to go through to change those programs within our subconscious mind.
There was a woman in the breath workshop when we were sharing it. She started, part of her share is, I'm a grown-ass woman and it's about time I take control. We decided we need to create the grown-ass woman club.
Well, I think that the people who are here are not going to be the people who fall into the just letting your subconscious rule you. That's why you're here.
Yeah.
You've chosen the Coptic way, which is to take control of yourself and recognize that you are God, emanations of God, godlings, however you want to call yourself. We're not just subject to the things that were put into our subconscious when we were children. We have control. And I didn't learn this until later in life. I was just going down that same automatic path until I discovered New Thought. And it's not just the Coptics. Unity also, Myrtle Fillmore, had tuberculosis in her family, and she said, I do not inherit disease. So
yes,
she used the positive affirmations. There are letters and books. So I'll leave it there. Yeah.
Actually, in Myrtle's case, she was actually diagnosed with tuberculosis at one point. So it wasn't just that it ran in her family. She was actually diagnosed with that, and she healed herself by positive thought and affirmation.
Yeah, I just got a copy of a book of her letters that she wrote to other people to help them learn how to do what she had done. I have that on the PDF document if anybody's interested. The book from 1935 or 1936, something like that. It was put together.
Well, I've been using that affirmation for myself in terms of blood pressure. I have perfect blood pressure. I have perfect normal blood pressure. And I say that to myself frequently. And doctor had given me a prescription twice a day, this tiny little pill. It's a water pill. And I cut it in half. So I only do half of what he prescribed so far. And I think it's working.
Well, Hamid Bey told us to talk to our bodies, talk to our cells. Mm-hmm. And so that's what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And your cells will listen and they will change.
Right.
At one point in time in my life, when I was growing up, I had really bad allergies. I was allergic to pollen. I was allergic to poison ivy. I don't remember what else I may have been allergic to. My mom's on the call. She could probably tell you. But the pollen was the big one, because I remember a number of springs just sneezing, just because there was so much pollen in the air. And one particular summer, after I had found the Joseph Murphy material, I kept repeating the affirmation, there's no such thing as allergies. Allergies are a myth. There are no such thing as allergies. And from that summer on, I have not had any allergies related to pollen or anything else that I can think of.
It works.
Yes.
I was just thinking about the period of growth for a child, the rapid learning that a child has is incredible. How do we speed that up now that we're adults? It's one of the reasons why you read Master Hamid Bey going into the the temples, because for the training, because he was early and he was young and he was susceptible to the positiveness of the masters. As we look back on the children and how they learn, how do we speed that up, Laurie? Just through subconscious affirmations, the headphones at night.
Yeah, I really try it all. Yeah, I am happy. I am supremely happy all day long. And all day long, you have to be saying very positive things to yourself. So, and then also being thankful that the thank you, the gratitude technique, which is being thankful for perfect blood pressure, even though maybe it's not right now, technically, but, that doesn't matter. Being thankful and affirming and also the sleeping technique. And like I said, you can look up some of the other. I haven't tried the Psyche thing yet because I haven't gotten the book yet. But there's wonderful things out there to keep all of us, whatever might be going on in our lives. Maybe everybody here is perfectly healthy and has absolutely no issues. I think that's great. But if you do have any kind of issues, then look it up, check into it. Find out what's causing it, what's in your subconscious programming, because all of your illness comes from your subconscious, all of it, everything.
Well, Hamadeh did say that older people tend to gather in groups of older people who discuss their illnesses, and then others think that they should be getting some of the same ones, and they end up getting the same illnesses because they've heard everybody else who's their age group getting them. He said, don't do this. Stay away from those groups. Don't discuss these types of things together. Be with people who are younger, who are healthy, and accept what they're doing and their enthusiasm for life, and you won't have to experience all of those things.
To add one extra piece, going back to Mike's question as far as how do adults regain some of that programmability of younger children, one of the things that I know at least Joseph Murphy talks about over and over and over again, that is to relax your mind, to quiet yourself, to go within. And getting into an alpha or theta level of mind activates that hypnotic state where the subconscious is more amenable to suggestion, and you can change those programs better than you could if you just did the affirmations on an outer conscious level.
Good stuff. Thank you, Laurie. Thank you for all of your comments tonight. And we sit past the 7 o'clock hour. And Jim, you'd like to say something?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, Laurie. I appreciate your talk. Do you get an opportunity to share any of that information in North Carolina?
Just with friends. I have talked to several friends. I have several friends I've shared it with. Right. Yeah.
It was very good. Thank you very much.
It was very good. Thank you.
Thank you. It was absolutely wonderful. This was truly a great evening, believe me.
Very much so.
I think we all recognize that.
Very practical.
Absolutely wonderful.